take this time to really check out Factor. And once again, go to factormeals.com/dating50 and use code dating50 to get 50% off. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Dating Intelligence. I'm Christopher Lewis, and I have an incredible guest on my show today, which is actually going to be my co-host. So I'm rolling solo again because Jamie Villamore is out gallivanting in her new Adventureland European, whatever the hell she has, podcast going on. So I had to bring my own people this time. So anyways, Jamie Villamore, shout out to you. Also, I want to give a shout out to Connor Linneruth, my producer who's producing the show with his videos and things like that. Shout out Connor. And to the main people at the studio that I'm using, it's called the House of Cocottes. It's an amazing restaurant in downtown LA. They have all this amazing space, guys, event spaces, speakeasy, whatever you need. This is the place to come, the House of Cocottes. So thanks to the two Philippes. All right, now let's get into my guest right now because I don't want to take up any more time because I'm going to need her. She's got a lot going on, guys. So my guest co-host today is a comedian, writer, and actor that has created a dating comedy show that puts a fresh new spin on it for singles looking to find their match. It's a modern day dating game that has you laughing as well as rooting for the bachelor or bachelorette to find their match for now. She has been featured in numerous magazines and shows and definitely can turn heads with her gorgeous golden locks. Please welcome Allison Goldberg to the show. What's up, Allie?
Oh, where do we begin? So many things are up and down and all around. Yes. But I'm happy to be here. Very happy to be here.
I'm glad you made it here because, guys, Allison walked in the door today and she's got a lot going on. So I'm just happy that you're here and you made it here.
Yeah, we'll just fill them in that my housing collapsed, and I wish that I were exaggerating in the slightest.
Like literally collapsed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to know, since this is a dating show, like, is it cute that I have no home? Like, is that a perk? You know, because I can come back to your place really easily because I don't have a place, you know? So that's where we're at right now. But thank you for getting me out of my friend's living room. That's really nice.
That's good. So this all worked out today. And by the way, guys, Allison is looking for a place to stay. If you guys have anything available, you know.
Are you single and you have a home? Hit me up. Yeah.
That's a new tagline for singles, basically, right? If you have a home, I'm homeless. Hit me up.
Oh my gosh. Just to be clear, like, there was flooding and extreme negligence by the landlord. So this is a true story that my entire building collapsed. And my heart really goes out to all the Christians in the building. Okay. Sincerely, I've never been so happy to be Jewish because it literally, we got a notice that we could not return to the building December 20th. And I'm like, I'm Jewish. If you celebrate Christmas, this truly is your Grinch and Christmas has been ruined. Right. You know, people kept texting me like, oh my gosh, this is the worst time for this to happen. And I'm like, I don't know, frankly, as a Jew, it might be the best time for this to happen. Like, things are pretty slow work-wise. Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to dating.
No.
But thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right. Well, you know, we can just segue into all this and just keep it going with this because I just want to know basically, like, did it all collapse at once or was it just like a kind of...
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing is like, it's also kind of an interesting story. Like, I think there's going to be a class action lawsuit, but... I mean, I could talk your ear off about it because it's like what is happening for me. But the short version is like the bones of the building are still there, but there was extreme flooding and extreme negligence. So I'm on the ground floor and my ceiling fell in. Man. So I cannot imagine what the top floor is.
How many floors, by the way?
Only two. But I'm on the ground floor and my living room ceiling, I have photos. Literally, I came home and it was on the ground.
It's like a little demolition right about now.
It's an unbelievable situation.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, wow. I hope it doesn't happen to anyone listening.
Well, happy holidays, man. It's just like, gee, what do you want for the holidays, Allison?
A house, a home, literally anywhere. What do I want for the holidays? All of my stuff might be ruined. So, like, gosh, I might start a registry. You know, it's my time for a registry, I think. I'm going to pull a Carrie Bradshaw.
See, this is one of the reasons why when landlords neglect their own buildings and think that they can just be these slumlord sort of situations, that when the shit really hits the fan, now you're going to be paying big time out of your ass.
I mean, it's wild. It's really wild. And, you know, it's the heart of Santa Monica. And actually, while we were dealing with this, and now I'm meeting a bunch of the other tenants that I hadn't met before. One of them had just moved in December 1st.
Oh, my God.
It's a wild story, but, you know, I have my health.
Yeah.
Which I do sincerely mean.
Okay.
Because that is the part that matters, you know.
All right.
I don't know that I have my sanity right now.
Yeah, well, you don't need your sanity.
That was always questionable.
Isn't that a part of comedy, though? You got to have something to actually work with for the future, right?
I have a lot more material now, I think. Not yet, but I think in 6 months.
Okay, all right.
It might be a fun...
The house is tumbling down. That's going to be a subject for you.
It's tumbled,
yeah. All right.
How are you? Do you have a home?
I got a home.
Just rub it in, Chris. Rub it in. Okay. Yeah.
I got a home for now,
That's
because
cool.
now I'm
That's
looking
cool.
over my head the whole time
You
after
never
your
know.
story. Yeah.
You never know. I was rock climbing, came home, no home.
Jesus, man.
Yeah,
Literally
yeah.
now the right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just shocking to me.
It's
I can't even imagine the people who are out of town when this happened, by the way.
Yes.
So that's the scary part.
It's really awful because I did manage to get some of my stuff out, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
some, I don't know specifics yet, but there's gotta be someone who left.
Who left early?
December 18th, December
Right.
19th for Christmas.
I'm going to Europe to have a European vacation,
Yeah.
and then they'll be back on after the first of the year. And guess what happens
and
when they get home?
100% of their stuff
Mm-hmm.
is ruined because there's also rumors of asbestos. So if you didn't get your stuff out quickly, it's not safe. So
Okay.
I mean, there are people that have to start over from scratch. And the point of this podcast today is get your renter's insurance, people. If
yeah.
you don't have renter's insurance, I'm dead serious. Fuck dating, get your renter's insurance. Like that is the most
I
important
think that
thing you
trumps
can do
dating
for
right
yourself.
there.
You
Definitely
know?
trumps dating 1,000%. So
Yeah.
All right.
Because it's the ultimate breakup when your
Yeah.
home leaves you and you need insurance.
Okay.
Dating should come with insurance.
Well, this
That
is
would
true.
be great.
I think they need dating's insurance because all of a
Yes.
sudden it's like some people actually might want their money back too. Let's talk about that. How many people have a bad day?
Yes.
I just want my money back. Where's my refund?
Or that hoodie, I know that's a big thing for the men. You should have dating insurance.
Dating insurance, 1,000%.
This is actually a great business idea. You just pay like $5 a month, but then when you have a horrible breakup, you get paid out in some way. The
because-
more horrible the breakup, the more you get paid
Yes,
out.
because something's being left behind, as we all know. Like for myself, when I break up with someone, I leave everything behind, and I start with zero. It's
Yes.
like, so I need that
Yeah,
insurance to
burn to
actually
the ground.
move me
What
forward.
if you don't want to, ever see them again? You just leave your stuff. Yeah.
Collateral
I think this
damage.
is a great idea.
It's not even collateral damage.
I'm trying to brainstorm titles now. Like, what do we call this insurance? But I think there's a huge market.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's call it. Maybe call it collateral damage. Collateral dating. How about that?
I'm gonna think
Dating
about it
damage.
and come back with a great
Okay.
title. To be
All right.
honest, it's got to be really punny, and we're gonna get there.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, so let's segue to that then, because you have really great ideas with great names and stuff. And so I want to segue off of that note because you've came up with an amazing show, by
Thank
the way.
you.
It's a stage show that when I saw it, and by the way, just now that I'm at Talkify as one of the only male dating coach for Talkify, which I pride myself in, it's one of those things where they sent out this Evite thing of just things going on in LA, and I was just like, Eventbrite, and I was just like, oh my God, what is this? And I read it and I fell in love with it right away.
Oh, wait, you got an Eventbrite email about it?
Of an Eventbrite things going on in
And it
LA.
probably tailors it to you because you're interested in dating.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm glad to know I'm getting in the emails.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's how it was, and literally,
Yeah.
and that's how I found you. So I looked, I go, oh my God. So let's talk about your show, Love Isn't Blind to Stage. So how did you come up with the idea? And it's just been doing fantastic, and it seems amazing.
Thank you. It's truly so much fun to do. It's a total blast. It's called Love Isn't Blind,
Mhm.
and you actually saw a bit of a spin-off version, but the crux of it is that it's a dating show where the men can't speak. And I joke because sometimes men should be seen, but not heard. But you actually saw a queer one. So a small sidebar that a lot of audience members started requesting other versions.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, if you want it, I'm happy to. So now I am doing queer versions. But the show generally is the dating show where the men can't speak. And there, of course, as always, there's like a short, medium, and long version for why I created it. But I would say two things. First of all, I have created a lot of shows in my career. That's what I have been doing for many, many years. And so post-pandemic, it was this very weird time where I hadn't created a show in a long time because we were quarantined.
Yeah,
and
shut
could
down.
not create shows in a live theater. And so it was interesting to realize that I had a lot of fear around it, which
Okay.
was just such a mind fuck, for lack of a better word, because it was this thing that I'd always done. And so actually I walked into the Crow for an open mic, and you've also performed at the Crow. And I walked in and I decided, I'm going to rent this theater. I'm just going to rent it. I'm going to rent it right now. And then I will have to create a show. And post
That's exactly what I did, by the way.
Yeah, I always joke I'm a big advocate of creating your own deadlines, right? So then I had to do it. And post-pandemic, I wanted to create something rowdy and interactive where people would meet each other, because dating or not, I think people are really hungry for human interaction and they're really hungry to meet each other. And something that I'm really proud of, although the singles in my audience might not agree with this, but I'm really proud of how many people in relationships come to the show and come back. And as you know, because you saw it, the people in relationships have a role. I tell them they have a responsibility to wing people, the single people. And I love how many people come back. And when you buy a ticket, it says, if you're single and ready to mingle, leave a fun fact about yourself. And I use those in the show. And I now have people in relationships writing, not single, but ready to wing person, because they've been before, they know the drill.
Of course, yeah.
So that was one part. And I love how many just like friendships are coming out of the show. Like there are contestants from different shows who end up meeting each other because they'll
That's
come back
great.
in the audience. And, like, I've had men who do the show, they come back to watch the next one, and then when a guy gets eliminated, they like approach him and they're like, hey man, I got eliminated too. It's like very cute. And now they're besties. So I'm loving that. And then separately, of course, there's also the story of my friends and I always complain that men don't ask questions on dates. They just talk about themselves and talk. And I thought, what if they stop talking?
I love that. Yeah. Well, I mean, but what's the saying? Like, you know, what a lot of women say, it's like, oh, no, he's cute as long as he doesn't say anything too stupid. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of shit comes out of guys' mouths. And that's one of the things that I pride myself in with what I do. It's like, I try to teach guys, it's like, look, it's like, learn to listen. You know, like, when you're asked the questions, listen, and then obviously the reciprocation is fine, but don't overindulge on stuff that no one wants to hear. Just kind of turn your attention to the woman and just let them, just be a good listener for once, you know?
Yeah.
Keep all your ego shit out of the way, just listen.
Yeah.
So I love the process of that.
Yeah, but I would ask questions, you know? I think, I don't know if they're just, sometimes I think men are just expecting us to just reveal things, and it's like, you do have to ask. But, and actually, to your point about listening, you saw a queer version of the show, but in the straight version, the final round, we hear the men's voices, and generally the joke I make is, final round, all we're doing is testing the straight men's listening skills. All they have to do is ask the bachelorette a question based on something they learned about her throughout the show.
Evening, yeah. Okay, so how many people actually, how are the guys at that point? Are they in tune at that point? Are they really listening?
A lot of the men do bomb in that section, and which, you know, the audience is like, ooh, you know.
They glaze, you know, all guys glaze.
Yeah,
it's that thing that they glaze.
I have to say, on the men's behalf, something I love about the show too is it's not performers. These are real guys. And the other thing about it is I joke about the men not speaking and men need to listen, but the men who apply to do this show are great men. They're men who are here for the feminist joke. They're here for the shenanigans.
Yeah, they know what they're getting into.
Yes, the men who do the show are wonderful men, and we can talk later about like my intake process and the men that I don't have do the show. But I will say on the men's behalf, that round I'm starting to think like maybe it isn't totally fair, because I also think they're just really nervous. Like they're not used to being on stage.
Of course,
and suddenly I've sprung on them that they have to ask her a question. I mean, I think it's simple. They just ask her anything based on what they learned about her. But, you know, they are really nervous, and they're not
well, here's a question then of them being nervous then. So when you're vetting the guys that come up on stage, are there questions, how is their dating history? Like, you know, for most of these guys, you feel like a lot of them are just like, you know, I haven't dated in a while. Some are like, you know, they're like a ladies man, or is it just a whole combination of the gamut of just, you know, I need this kind of guy, I need that kind of person, just to make it interesting? Because if they're all just like guys who just really don't date, then they're also, that nervousness also is going to come across as just like, they don't know what to do anyways.
Yeah. I will say that a lot of the men in that final round where they have to ask a question, they knock it out the fucking park, and they ask like really thoughtful questions.
Oh, that's great.
And you hear the women in the audience be like, oh, that's great. You know what I mean? So a lot of the men ask beautifully thoughtful questions as well.
Okay,
but,
good.
you know, I've started to notice the men who kind of freak out at that part. I'm like, they really just might be nervous because they're not performers. So I'm thinking about how to maybe I'm always thinking like, how do I make tweaks and restructure things? But in terms of who applies, it is difficult. Like, people think I'm inundated with applications, but I'm not. So listeners, please apply. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think, first of all, I post a lot of clips on social media, and so people are scared. They're like, they're going to be seen. I work at Google. I don't want you putting sex stuff about me on the internet. And I actually don't post anything without consent. So my email, your producer, Connor Linneruth, does all the filming and editing for my show. He's incredible. He's the only person who's been with me since this very first show. But we text drafts to every single contestant beforehand. Good. So, but you know, so I'm having some issues on my end about communicating that I actually care about your privacy and consent and all of that. But you know, a lot of people are scared because it is a comedy show. But I'm getting men who are really tired, to answer your actual question. Yeah, that's okay. I'm getting men who are really tired of swiping, and they are up for shenanigans. I kind of joke / it's real that my best contestants tend to be guys who work in tech or advertising. They have a real job, but they've taken improv for fun, right?
Okay, yeah. They have some idea of what they're getting to, and they've been on stage, possibly a little bit. But,
yes.
Okay, so it all fits into the range of who your contestant is, which stage show.
Yeah. And I joke, you know, we love a man who does improv but doesn't do improv, you know, and so a lot of men, you know, they're taking it for fun, they're up for shenanigans. And again, I think everyone's tired of swiping. I was actually listening to an episode, it was the one with the CEO of Talkify about how you think matchmaking will have a renaissance because people are so tired of swiping. Yeah. And I think there's a lot to that. People just don't want to swipe anymore. But And then the other difficult part for me on my end is like I do want to take into account diversity, personality types, right? So I've had some really introverted men apply who actually say, hey, this show looks great because I'm not going to stick my foot in my mouth and say something silly and I'm nervous to talk on stage or whatever. But I don't want to necessarily have two introverted types on stage. So there's just so many factors that people don't realize. So actually,
plus probably matching for the Bachelorette that you might have there as well.
Exactly. So I have to revise my earlier statement, which is that like I do have a lot of applications, but it's really tough to find ones where it's like, okay, you're in the right age range. You actually seem like you have some things in common with this Bachelorette. You look like you'll be fun on stage, and I'm taking into account diversity and things like that. So there's just a ton of factors that go into it. So that is a part that I'm still really trying to figure out how to streamline and make easier for myself. And I think
well, if you need any help with that, Allison, I'll help you.
Oh my
God,
I need
that's something that I can suss out pretty quickly.
Reaching the men. Reaching women is much easier. Right. You want 4 men to compete for you, like you know what I mean? But yeah, I need to reach more good men, and
which is always very difficult because I mean, even putting together mixers or like like little dating, whatever you're doing, it's like the common through line with a lot of people who are doing mixers and things like you're doing. It's like, where are the guys? We can always get a lot of women together, but it's the guys that are very tough to find because it's like you have to find that perfect age range, or if they're even like even if those guys, if they date the age appropriate type women as well, that's another thing as well. Right. So when you get into the older bracket, it's like you're really have very few to pick from.
Right. And I also get a lot of older men being like, oh, 28's in my age range. And I'm like, bro, you're not in hers. You know what I mean?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, right? It's been wild. I tell people exactly what I think. So, I mean, I can talk all day about the types of things that the men tell me and women. It's actually been nice. For me, it's kind of leveled the playing field where I'm seeing things that the men are doing wrong and I'm seeing things the women are doing wrong.
Good.
And so it's like, oh, okay.
You're getting a good mix, but this is why the show is successful, I feel like, because it's like you're putting your spin on it. And what I love about when you're up on stage, that I've seen of you, it's like you just like you can just go with the flow. Like you're just kind of running this thing like seamlessly.
Thank
you.
It's
seamlessly.
my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, it's just like when we were watching, I was like, it's so easy for you up there, because it's like obviously you're showing you've done enough of it right now in order to figure out how to make it run. But if your Bachelorette or the Bachelor, if they're kind of more of like, not to say introvert, but they're just not giving enough, you can really jump in there and put that extra stuff on them, which I love.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And the show is more fun if we believe a real match could be made, right? So, and I think of that I'm really a theater dork at heart, and it's like the show is better if there are stakes, right? So my favorite moments are when we realize actually that some of these contestants have something in common.
That's
really
great.
Could. So it's tough because I'm not a matchmaker, but the show is better when I can make real matches.
Yep.
And you can feel it. Like something that happened one of the early shows is we had a Bachelorette, and she's this like beautiful, amazing bassoonist, but she revealed that she secretly sees herself as a dork and she loves anime. And then later, in one of the rounds, I searched the guys' phones and all this anime. I was searching his YouTube watch history, and all this anime popped up. And the audience like screamed, right? Because they're realizing that they have so much in common, and also like, I think it came out also that he plays music and she's a bassoonist, and the audience, you can feel it. Oh, I also did a queer show where the tension between the Bachelorette and the ultimate winner was so intense, like the whole room could feel it.
Oh, that's great.
Like their chemistry was so crazy. At one point I was like, am I gay? Like what is happening? But it's so fun for the audience. Like at one point, they just stood up and started walking towards each other. And I was like,
amazing.
We're not the show's not over.
Okay, but they did choose each other, right?
Ultimately, she chose her. And she told me after, she's like, so the Bachelorette chose this hot older lesbian. And she was like, the second she came on stage, I knew it was her. And it was just a process of in what order to eliminate the others. But the audience can feel it, and then at the after party, they made out at the bar and everybody went wild. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a more fun show when I can make real matches, but then it makes my job so hard on the other end because I'm a comedian, not a matchmaker.
Yeah, but you do it well. And like I said, and I appreciate the fact that you've actually, the way that you do the structure of the show, especially with the after party after, that's allowing everyone else in the audience now to interact with whomever they want to, social settings. Once again, like you said, how you started this whole thing was just to get people back in the social environment again. People meeting each other, people talking. And you're doing that.
I actually announced this at your show because I found out that day. But there's 2 people who met in the audience 1 year ago at my show, and they are engaged.
That's incredible.
It's crazy.
Kudos to that.
It's
See,
crazy.
you're working wonders there, Allison.
They owe me a fucking testimonial video.
Yeah, do you ask for many of those, by the way?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. Keep it
They
going.
don't give them to me.
Well,
trying to look directly into one of the cameras pointed at us. They know if this clip goes online, this couple knows who they are. They both follow me. You owe me a testimonial video.
And how hard is that, guys? I mean, come on. Look,
30
you
seconds.
found her at the show. That's a
30
simple
seconds. You
plug.
met in the audience.
Simple plug.
Yeah.
You know, they need to be plugging your show all day long, by the way.
All day.
All day long.
They need to get matching tattoos. We met at Love Isn't Blind.
All right. So, by the way, Love Isn't Blind now. It's travels. It's here. It's going to San Francisco. You're probably taking to New York. Okay. And so this is great, though. So, how do you feel like you're going to get the audience to go to those shows? How's that coming for you right now in order to travel with this?
Oh, well, knock on wood, it's been easy so far, but I feel like the second I say that publicly, marketing is going to become a disaster. But we've gone to Seattle. I say we because your producer, Connor, is also my videographer. He's my boy.
Love you, Connor.
I really do. We took it to Seattle, and I don't know. It was, I mean, you know, when I go to other cities, I start small, 100 seats, but I really didn't have to do much. I think that the social media is selling the show, and now because I'm traveling with it infrequently, I think when people hear that it's going to their city, it sells.
That's perfect.
I think, you know, we'll see how it goes when I keep going back.
Regardless, though, Allison,
you know,
like you just said, it's word of mouth and things like that. Like I was impressed with the amount of people that influxed to the show. I was like, wow. And my thought process was like, how the hell does she do this? It's like, you know, but it's organically done because it's a good show. That's all that it means. It's a good show.
Something that's cool is, well, the number of people who tell me, my friend came last month and told me I had to go. Because in LA, it's monthly. Mm-hmm. So the number of people are just like, my friend went last month that I had to go. But also people are finding out about it through social media. Again, thanks to Connor, who cuts my clips. So yeah, people are also, I think social media and word of mouth. Social media is so interesting because I think people develop a parasocial relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they think that they know it or they feel like they've seen it. So those are really the two main avenues.
And don't forget that they can relate to it. That's the main thing as well. You know, it's like, because how many people are actually, if they're seeing this and taking the time to look at clips, they're single, you know, or they're interested, or they like the concept, all the above. Yeah. It's a win-win. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor who's literally saved my life this winter, and that goes out to Factor. Factor, as you guys know, is a ready-to-eat meal service that makes eating better every day and easy. I mean, I just don't have the time around this time of the year to go to the store, especially when it's cold outside after a long day of work. I just want to go home and hibernate, and the last thing I want to do is to cook something. So with Factor, you get a 2-minute meal, fuel up fast with Factor's restaurant quality meals that are ready to heat and eat whenever you are. I mean, think about this, guys. You get snacks, smoothies, and more, whatever you like from this company, and it's delivered directly to your home. Factor is the perfect solution if you're looking for a fast upscale option done easily, and you have so many choices to choose from: Calorie Smart, vegan and veggie, and more. And for me, I just like to do it all. And when I go to my fridge and get that meal out, I know exactly what I'm in for, and it's going to be great tasting every time. So there's no prep, no mess meals. Factor meals are 100% ready to heat and eat, and like I said before, and there's no prepping, cooking, or cleanup needed. So if you want to learn more about them, head to factormeals.com/dating50 and use code dating50 and get 50% off your first box. And take this time to really check out Factor. And once again, go to factormeals.com/dating50 and use code dating50 to get 50% off.
I mean, I don't know. I love doing it. I hope it just keeps growing, but it's a fun time, and it's different every time because the men are different.
Yeah.
And in 2024, I really want to play more with new rounds and new shenanigans and things like that. And I do crowd work too. So one of my favorite moments ever is this guy ended up eating a pie in the audience with his bare hands in under a minute. I mean, it was completely insane, right? I mean, people were losing their minds, and those are moments you just can't ever recreate.
Right.
They're never going to happen again, you know? And so people left that show, and I saw like tickets immediately after the show, right? Like after that show, it's like people just left and bought tickets to the next one.
I've been plugging it like a ton. Like I said, you have to go see the show.
Thank you. Yes, bring me all your men.
Trust me. Once this the influx on my dating intelligence stuff, that's the whole point of this as well.
Thank you. So. I will take great care of you men, I promise.
Well, speaking of men, now throwing that subject, how's your dating life going?
Oh.
And has there been any of these guys that you might have seen on the stage are like, you know what, this might be a little potential for me, as you giggle and laugh?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I did. I dated one contestant briefly. I should say, like, you know, this is not like people joke, like, look at this pipeline for yourself. I'm like, that's not why I thought I created the show. You know, I enjoy being the puppet master, not the puppet. But some of the guys have asked me out, but like, I don't know, it's not really. Yeah, and sometimes like they don't realize that I'm older than them, and
right. Well, you know what?
So you know, it's. Yeah, but also I get, just to put it in some perspective, I've done the show probably 20, 25 times now, so we're looking at like 100 men, and I think I've gone on dates with like 3 of them. So it's very small. All
right. Well, outside of that,
I don't want people to think that like, I mean, I don't mind you asking, but I don't want people to think that like that's what I'm doing the show.
No. That's why I wanted to know outside of the show, though.
But have I made out with some of them? Yes.
Well, I mean, hello. If you have the opportunity, you might as well. Yeah. It's your, like I always say, it's your show. You do what you want.
Yeah. I also think a lot of men are scared of me after the show because like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like I'm kind of on fire on
No,
stage.
you are
I'll say
on fire.
Anything,
and that's the beauty of it. Now,
but
it eliminates the type of guys that can handle you, though. And so it's like, oh yeah, I kind of like that. You know, I think I can be with this.
Yeah, I think they're scared though. Yeah, it's fascinating. I had one guy call out while I was on stage, "Are you single?" And I was like, "See me after the show." He never did. You know what I mean? They're scared.
So then, what are you looking for then for yourself? I know you're really busy with like everything kind of going on right now. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's like the least your worries right now is having a guy. But but you know, in the meantime, are you always on the lookout for yourself as well and doing your work in other?
Yeah, I'm looking for a man with a home. Because
that's a good start.
If you have a house, that is hot.
Yeah.
You know,
guys, you might even take a couch right now.
You know?
You just have something.
You have a studio apartment. I am in. No, I want someone smart and funny who I am attracted to. That is what I want. Who's very nice and emotionally available.
It seems to be easy, but sometimes it's
so
not that
hard.
easy.
A lot of people seem that way, and then like they disappear for days, and you're like, what's going on here? You know?
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so all right, guys. So we have Allison Goldberg on the show, and she's got this amazing show called Love Isn't Blind, and she's on stage all the time, comedian, writer, just doing amazing stuff. And so I'm going to segue now into something that she just ended up on. But yeah,
I wanted to say for your listeners before we segue that if you do apply to the show, I do take care of the men, and there's a lot of things that I think scare the men, right? Like I search their phones and stuff like that, but I do tell them in advance, like if there's anything you don't want me to touch, I'm not going to fucking touch it.
Right.
So like there's a lot of that.
I love the fact that you go on their phones though, because I feel like it's like, you know what, it's like they're just giving up their privacy at that point.
And the thing is, like, I gauge, I Zoom with each of the men before they apply through my website, and then I Zoom with all of them beforehand, and I try to gauge their personality, right? Because some of them you can tell, and some of them say to me, do whatever the fuck you want, I don't care. One guy said to me, if you have to sabotage me for the joke, sabotage me. And I was like, I'm not going to, but we're going to be good friends. And we are now, So I try to gauge what they're comfortable with. Recently I had a guy say, you're going to want to search my Amazon history because I just planned a bachelor party. And I was like, noted, right? And then I searched it on stage, and it's like dildo, 12 Hawaiian shirts, So I was like, thank you for this gift. So, the thing is, like, a lot of people are like, oh, is it a roast show? Like, my job is to make everyone look amazing and for everyone to have a great time. Yeah. And the audience has a better time if you do a great job. If you go on my show and you knock it out of the fucking park, the audience goes wild and you feel great. Right. So, like, it's not in my interests to humiliate anyone.
Exactly. Yeah, like to put all their dirty laundry out there where it's going to make them, not even after the show, if they get off, like first contestant off, now they're looking like, I don't want to talk to that guy.
Yeah, I want people to, and the contestants are getting dates from the audience. A lot of the guys tell me it's actually great to be, the dream spot is runner-up, because you do all the shenanigans.
Yes,
and then you can go
because they know a little bit more about him as well. That's why. I love that spot.
Because when people are, as you know, in the audience, you get a wristband based on your relationship status. Mm-hmm. So anyway, just that little plug that if you do apply and you're selected, I will take great care of you.
All right, guys, you heard it. You got to put your stuff out there and take a chance. I mean, like you said, it's like, what can it possibly hurt? It's like the odds of Bobby getting on the show. Who cares? But just try and like, once again, it's like, it's a great show. Yeah. But check it out for sure. But like I said, we're going to continue to, like, the show is still a part of this, but we're going to segue into the fact that I know that you said some of the guys you've been like talked to, they just end up just disappearing, right? Our episode for the day is called Breaking Up is Hard to Do. That's our episode. So it's like, how many times have you thought about breaking up with someone, but always find yourself struggling to end that relationship? And so there's different ways how people break up. I know you have something coming out in the future about, texting and things like that. So guys, what we're going to talk about right now is breaking up, and there's people break up in all sorts of weird sort of ways, but we're also going to talk about the right way to actually go through the process. So, like I know, like people, texting, breakup, ghosting, just probably having a friend tell you, hey, they're not dating you anymore. So just all these weird ways.
That feels so middle school. That was the last time I did that. Yeah.
We are in LA.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So a lot of middle school guys here, sort of thing. Wow. So what do you think about that? About breaking up?
If the friend breaks up with you, can you date the friend? But maybe that's not a good egg either for him to be the one that's like, sure, I'll break up with your girlfriend for you. Anyway, yeah.
That's a tough position to be in. Yeah. Unless they're trying to date the girl and trying to be the hero. Think about it. So. Yeah. I didn't like her anyways, dude. You break up with her for me. Are you sure about that? I mean, remember the movie Love Actually? Like
Oh,
you
a
talked about.
toxic movie.
You know, like at the end of that with the
Absolutely
whole like stuff. I
awful
mean, what was that about, by the way? You know?
I just think it's wild that movie is supposed to be like the pinnacle of like beauty and romance and love. And I think I never watched it as a kid. So
Okay.
I watched it for the first time like 2 years ago and I was like, this is trash.
Yeah.
What? These are all the almost, it's like 3 of the 5 to 7 relationships are
Failures.
older men
Mm-hmm.
in very questionable relationships with women half their age. It's like the prime minister and his intern. Then there's what is it, Colin Firth? Why am I blanking on names?
Yeah,
who's
him.
dating like his assistant who's half his age who doesn't speak his language at all.
That's
We're supposed to
right.
think that's romantic.
Yeah.
That they cannot communicate. Like
Right. Right.
they communicate through expressions. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Even though I run a show where they can't speak. So yeah.
I mean, was the sexual tension there for that even to happen? If there's a sexual tension spoken without words, that I can agree with because
Right,
you know.
but then fuck it out. But you don't need
Exactly
to date.
right,
Yeah.
right. So, but
Yeah.
there was none of that on there either, though.
Yeah.
But even like the last scene, I mean, what is that? Your best friend's coming to you, telling his wife now.
Oh my gosh, so messed up. Yeah, it's supposed to be romantic, that note card scene, but
Yeah.
yeah, you knock on your best friend's door and say, lie to my best friend / your husband, because I'm professing my love to you. What?
I feel like I'm looking for what's his name, John Cusack, to come with the stereo at the end of that scene. That was a better play. At least do that and like have the song do it.
Anything
Right.
would be better.
But where do you go from there? I mean, where does that guy go from there? You just walk away, just like,
That's
well,
what he does.
at least I
said
right.
my piece. And then the creepy wedding video where they finally watch the wedding video and it's
Yeah.
just close-ups of her.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Like, bro, you need a restraining order.
Totally. Yep. So
Yeah.
that she should have creeped out on
Therapy,
that.
yeah.
Not even
It's
go to the
not
door.
Cute. It's not cute. Anyway, what's your question?
No. That was the
How to
question.
break up.
Yeah, how to break up. So, you know, so all right, guys. So I'm going to go and give you a couple of tips on, you know, should you break, like, let's say, should you break up or work it out? That's another thing as
Yeah.
well. Sometimes I feel like people jump the gun on a breakup.
Yeah.
You know, I know I've probably maybe have done that once. I'm like, we're broken up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and I walk away and I go, wait a minute, did I just do that? It's like, and then you go groveling back.
Uh-huh.
And then the girl's like, I thought we were broken up. It's
Yeah.
like, well, you know, I kind of left my stuff here. So
Yeah.
how do we get back?
Yeah. And
Something.
Well, you can leave your stuff there as long as you have our dating insurance. That I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
do it insurance. How about that?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
do it insurance. So that's the first and foremost. Like if you're not in the right relationship, just don't do it. That should be the insurance.
But to not do the relationship if it's not
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
remember, once again, it's almost like a money back guarantee sort of
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
that's the way I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean I have so many thoughts on, you know, I mean 50% of marriages don't work out, and I'm always curious how many of those, like, did you know walking down the aisle that this was like not a good idea?
Yeah, and most of them actually probably after the fact. They say
Yeah.
that's what my girlfriend said. By the way, she actually when she got married, she literally said, you know, she goes, I knew walking down the aisle that this was not the person for me.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
a year later, you know.
Yeah.
So, but that it's like we hear stories about this all the time.
Yeah.
It's like the same reason on like, you know, before they go down the aisle, like, I don't know about this. And
Yeah.
you're clearly looking at them going, why are you doing this? Is not the person for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You know?
I've spoken to a lot of women that have said, you know, it just seemed like it was the next thing we were supposed to do. They're just like on the track
Mhm.
and you know, people talk about cold feet, like so they convince themselves that it's like acceptable that they have all these massive doubts. But
Right. But I
it's very
think
interesting.
the shiny object of called the like, you know, getting the wedding together, like
Yeah.
the planning, all that stuff kind of clouds all that. So it
Yeah.
becomes a fantasy,
Yeah.
which keeps it, like you said, it keeps people out that fantasy barrier. When all of a sudden, when all that's done, it's like, shit, did I just do this?
I can't even imagine.
And I can't even imagine the guys, you know, in that sense, though. The guys just probably just go along because, like, if I say anything, I'm going to get shot, you know, basically, you
I
know.
mean, maybe, but if you feel that way, you definitely shouldn't be dating. You should date someone where you feel like you can talk. You
Right.
know?
And that's the thing. And so, like, so let's.
Again, even though I run a dating show where the men can't speak, but yeah.
But that's the whole process I want to talk about, you know, about breaking up. It's hard to do because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people, you know, like there's just all these unspoken words sometimes on how people in a relationship and they don't really know how to go about either staying in a relationship or getting out of the relationship. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like it's run its course. You know, you can actually see it's run its course. It's like, well, why are
Yeah.
they together? But then sometimes I feel like people who do break up for, you know, the wrong reasons as well sometimes, whether they're either jealous, they're getting the wrong, or they're just not asking the right questions, you know,
Yeah.
in order to like work something out. They're just
Yeah.
going, or some people just are just too insecure. So like, I'd rather just break up now before he breaks up with me or she breaks up with me.
Yeah.
So there's all these weird sort of situations going on all the time. It's
Yeah.
just endless ways of doing it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, my main thing is just that people need to be doing it with empathy. So I have a show coming out February 14th called How to Break Up by Text. It's going to be on a major audio platform that for some reason I'm not supposed to say out loud, but you,
Oh, great.
you have it on your phone. So
Nice.
anyway,
Yeah.
but it's called How to Break Up by Text. It's based on a live show I used to do. So I
Mhm.
used to a show that I used to do before the pandemic is I would take audience members' phones live on stage and perform their breakup texts with a guest comedian.
Okay.
And it was wild. The show's called How to Break Up by Text, and it was fascinating how many people bought a ticket not knowing what was going to happen, but they have their screenshots ready because it's this event that we don't have closure, we don't have catharsis, and so people were they were so ready. They'd be like, well, I had sex with him 3 times and then this happened, and in front of a room of strangers. It was wild.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was bought and turned into an audio version, and that's coming out in February. And for that format, celebrities perform your breakup text.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and
that's
then an
great.
expert joins and we break down your breakup. And the main thing I think is just, first of all, breakup texts are funny because they're these accidental scripts. Like, again, from a theater dork perspective, we have a script that is not meant to be said out loud. What happens when you say it out loud? And of course, nobody wants to break too much, then you look psycho, or, people putting emojis, all caps, spelling errors. Like, it's really wild. But the fact is, like, a lot of people, I'm seeing long-term relationships end by text, and it's just like, the only time anyone should ever break up by text is if it's like you've been on a date or two.
They should never break up
well,
by text,
I think if it's like you've just been on a date or two, you're not really dating. It's almost like a letting them know, like, hey, I'm really not feeling this, so that they're not. So that it's an alternative to ghosting, right?
Okay,
I think instead of ghosting, do a breakup text. But otherwise, I think like technology allows us to take the easy road out on a lot of things, and I don't think the easy road is necessarily the right road just because it's easier. So I think texting is fine if it's, again, like 2 dates in or something. I mean, the fact
that's acceptable. That's acceptable. Hey, it just didn't work out because you're new. It's still, I agree.
I think ghosting is kind of weird at this point. Also, especially like if you have mutual friends and stuff like that, it's like, why are you doing this? Like, we could just, I don't know. I also make so many exes my friends, so I'm just like, you don't need to ghost me. Like, we could transition this into friendship just fine,
Yeah,
unless you did something really fucked up.
Okay, but are they open to that though? That's the thing though.
Some of them are,
right.
Yeah, some of them aren't. Yeah,
right.
That's fine too.
Yeah, I just think that just like, once again, like the texting and that I agree with there, but it's the ghosting, things like that, no. Open communication, I feel like I always tell people, regardless, so you just got to have a face-to-face with the person to do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it in a public space though, by the way. Make sure it's in the confines of just like somewhere where it's quiet, you both can hear each other, not going to be in a public space where it's too loud or the person's going to get too emotional, because now you're just setting them up. So,
this went viral many years ago, but there was a guy who asked his wife for a divorce on the subway. He was typing and an email.
Okay.
And like, this went viral because there was this whole discussion about how some woman is about to receive an email asking for a divorce, and at the end it's going to say, sent from my iPhone. And it's just like, when you're taking the easy way out and it's not necessarily the right way. So it's just like, people are just lying to themselves when they break up kind of like the wrong way. Like, you owe some level of empathy to the other person.
Right.
But unless it's toxic, then fucking
for sure,
block them, do whatever you need to do.
No, they just get out as fast as possible.
Actually abusive.
Yeah, like, like I left the key on the mat and I'm out. That all day long I agree with though, for sure. But how do you feel like that sets the person up for the next one then? Think about that. If someone like you said like that, it's like, what does that show to now I'm dating this person who like sent an email to get a divorce, and you can even like go face to face with that.
Yeah.
Unless she's just like, batshit crazy or something. That I understand as well, but at least get your lawyers involved at this point or whatever it may be.
Well, Dan Savage has the campsite rule, which I love, which is basically leave it better than you found it, right? So, and I think that's great, right? Because we are fucking each other up in the head. And it's funny because when it happens to us, we're like, this is the worst thing, how could they do this? And then we turn around and we do the same thing to someone else, right? So it's like, we're fucking each other up in the head. Stop fucking each other in the head. That's not what we're supposed to. Actually, some people like fucking in the head, but that's, you know what I'm saying? That's like a different orifice. Anyway, so I just think we should be better. Although, I say this stuff live and, there's some guy that's going to be in the comments being like, she fucking ghosted me. And I'm going to be like, all right.
Of course. Yeah, of course. And then he's like, and then I go to the next girl anyway. It's like, okay, Steve, there you go.
I have to do the accidental ghost where I'm like, man, I really owe this person a text. And then I'm like, whoa, 4 days have gone by. You know what I mean? So like, they're
not going to want to hear from me anymore anyway.
Yeah, But I just think we need to be treating each other better. I've actually, at this point in my life, I force men to have conversations with me. And it's very helpful.
Wait, what do you mean? Go ahead, explain about that.
There was this one guy where, it's a doozy of a story. He had how much of the story should I tell? Basically, he told me, I'm trying to make it short, but I wasn't allowed to sleep in.
Okay.
Because he got really weird, and I was like, do you not trust me? Because he had to leave in the morning. And so I was like, do you not trust me alone in your home?
So he didn't want you there, basically bottom line.
No, well, so I said, do you not trust me in your home? That something was weird. And he goes, we don't know each other well enough yet. And I was like, that's fucking nuts. I didn't say that, but I was like, First of all, if you're comfortable inside of my body, you should be comfortable with
Right.
me inside of your house, asleep on a Saturday morning. Full stop. You know? And also, like, sidebar, I have mega insomnia. I don't drink alcohol because of my insomnia. Like, he knows that I have an insomnia issue and he was gonna fucking nudge me awake. And then of course, and so I'm just like completely taken aback. And he clearly wanted me gone immediately. And I was like, I sat down at this kitchen table and I was like, hey, we're gonna have a conversation about this. And I forced him to have a conversation with me. And all this stuff came up where he's like, I've been walked on before. I'm never
Okay,
walked
I
on
appreciate
now.
that.
Right?
Yeah,
and so
I like
he's
that.
like, you know, the last girl walked on me, and I said to him, it's so sad that whatever the last person did to you, you're bringing right here.
Right.
Because I'm not her.
And missing out on an opportunity, because what if you're like, you know, you're the one. He's missing out on all these opportunities, which
Even if it's not me, like this is how he's treating people. And he's like,
exactly.
And he basically is like proud that he has his guard up because he's been walked on too many times, and he's not going to be walked on again. And for me, it was incredibly helpful because I think I would have gone back and been upset about this guy for a while. I was upset for about 24 hours and then I was done.
Okay.
I was over it. And I think forcing that conversation helped me get closure where I was like, okay, you've got a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And he even said to me, I remember he said, you make me realize that I'm not the man I want to be. And I said, hey, we're well into our 30s. Like, is that something you want to work on? Because if you're telling me, hey, I really like you and I know I need to work on this, like that's one thing. Then there's a path forward. And I said, do you want to work on this? And he said, no. So he said to me, you're making me realize I'm not the man I want to be and I don't want to feel that way. And I don't, like, but he didn't want to change. And I was like, cool. Also, he's a 40-year-old NASA scientist, just so we're clear.
Yeah, I tell you. I mean,
you know, it's just wild because like on the outside, he like has everything together.
Of course he does. But then once you get to the root of it, a la sleeping over, not letting you sleep in.
And in that same conversation, I'm truncating, that conversation was an hour. You know, he starts talking about his childhood trauma, and I'm like, all right, this is not about me.
May I ask how many times you guys have hung out before that moment, by the way?
So it's like 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
I actually have stand-up about how like 6 to 8 weeks is when man's true colors come out. So every man puts on a good front for about 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. 6 to 8 weeks in, something happens. I think I even made that joke to him.
You're right about that. There's a thing called 2 months, 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 months, and then it goes on from there. Like in the second week, people start acting, you can see the true colors from that. So that's the real thing.
Before that, he's really, lovely and polite. And listen, you don't know me, but like, and maybe I'm very trusting. Like you, if I had a home, could come over right now and sleep over if you need to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? But Allison, I'm gonna decline on that now because your house is underwater.
Yeah. Don't come over.
With that.
Well, you know what I mean? It's like I just feel. I mean, of course, I'm biased because I'm me, but I'm like, you can obviously trust me in my home, trust me in your home. Like I don't know. I mean,
well, especially after 6 to 8 weeks. That's
if you don't trust me in your home, like there's something big. And I by the ends of that closure conversation, I really felt sorry for him, because he has some stuff to work through and he's clearly traumatized from other relationships, but like if he's telling me he doesn't want to work through it, then
that's the way I see it.
It was sad.
Yeah, and he's going to be alone the rest of his life if he does. If he's in his 40s.
Hopefully he gets it together, but because I don't think he was a bad guy.
Okay. He just didn't want to do it right then and there.
He did not want to do it. Yeah.
I think you put him on the spot and called him out on his shit. He's like, damn it.
But that's why conversations are great. And he was so uncomfortable that whole conversation. But selfishly, I was like, oh, I understand now. Because before that, I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
Right. So how many times were you getting nudged every time that you were over there then, in theory though? You know what I mean? Before you finally went, wait a minute.
Yeah. So there was it was 68 weeks and there was like a bunch of factors so that like my parents were visiting, but like he had visitors. So it was the first time we'd actually hung out on a weekend. Gotcha. And the sleepover was a possibility.
Okay.
But like to be clear, we were sleeping together at that point. It was just like it was always it was like a weeknight. So weeknights it makes more sense where you're like
because everybody has to get up and go. Yeah, everybody's gonna get up and go.
Mm-hmm. But it was the first weekends, and I was like, so can I sleep in? It was like a rhetorical question.
Did he even bring you? No, you wanted to sleep in. Yeah, I was gonna say he didn't bring you coffee or anything, but I forgot you're the one who wanted to sleep in. So
yeah, I've had other men who like literally the first time I sleep over, this one guy was like, I left it. He had to go for some reason. Oh yeah, he worked in events, so he worked on weekends, and he was like, I have to wake up in the morning. I'm leaving a key for you. Had coffee ready, like. And that was the first, we didn't know each other that well, but frankly, that's how you should behave if you're trying to.
I agree with you, especially if you're inviting someone to your home. Unless you say, look, we're doing this, but I'm not really comfortable with people spending the night.
If you think I'm so crazy as to do something to, The interesting thing is when I told my girlfriends that this happened, they said, what was he hiding that you couldn't be there alone? And I was like, that didn't even occur to me.
Right. But apparently it was, who knows, with that case, it's probably nothing because you talked to him. So, but what if you would have just left and not known anything? Now the
here's the thing, if you think I'm so crazy as to search your home while you're not there, why wouldn't I be crazy enough to search your home while you're asleep? You know what I mean? Like, you're not gaining anything by kicking me out in the morning.
Right.
Also, I already told you I'm an insomniac. Like,
I
can do all the damage I want while you're right there.
But hold up. Let's be honest though. Like, a lot of people, when you're left alone, what do? We do a little bit of snooping around, just a little bit.
I do all my snooping right in front of people. if I ever, but in all seriousness, I love exploring people's apartments and learning about them. Like, someone invites me over, I immediately am like, oh, what books on your bookshelf?
Yeah. One of my favorite.
I'm not in the fucking medicine cabinet.
But that's one of my things. There's a show where someone goes, "Hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom," and when I'm in the bathroom, I'm going to look through your medicine cabinet.
I don't.
Just as a joke. No, this is a joke on a show. They go. He goes, "Where's the bathroom?" She goes, "It's over." He goes, "Well, in the meantime, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then I'm going to look in your medicine cabinet." But it was like a funny joke. Where it's like, yes, because that's what people do. I mean, I don't do that. I don't do that. I mean, I have no need to.
That feels weird.
Yeah, I don't do that. But that's why it's a joke. The medicine cabinet because people like it. It's like, what pills is he on? You know, oh, look at that.
Yeah, but also if he's on pills, that means he's doing the work. He's seeing a psychiatrist. He's getting help. He's on the pills. If he has no pills, then you should be concerned.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah,
and
maybe,
a tick. And he's got a tick at the same time, right?
Yeah. It's just... Anyway, so that's a long-winded story about me. I wonder if he'll listen to this. That'd be funny.
He needs to he needs to listen to some of this stuff.
It's all true.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people need to work their shit out. But you're right, though. There's a lot of people in the that we start going off, and then one of the things I tell people, we miss a lot of red flags because we give a lot of people a lot of benefit of the doubt. That's the main thing as well. So.
What I find tough is, should we? Because I think we should give people the benefit of the doubt, but then you ignore red flags. And so I'm always struggling with, what is that balance between, because people always say, especially about men, they say, believe what he tells you, right? Because men will say, I'm a bad texter, and it's like, okay, so he's, probably not emotionally available, he's, not good at communicating. I don't know, that's a bad example, but, people, believe him, and then you want to
but you're right on that.
Constant struggle, red flags versus benefit.
But I don't think what you just said right there, like you just said, I'm a bad texter. I have this thing where I tell a lot of women, I say, look, I go, guys, when you start dating someone, it's just for guys, we have an automatic out.
Yeah.
And so when we put I'm a bad texter or I work late.
Well, okay,
I
had one guy who said, I read attached and I am avoidant, but I'm working on being secure.
Okay. He told you this. Wait, he told you this?
Yeah, he told me that.
On the first date? Okay. Well, I think on that note...
So it's you've told me you're avoidant.
Right.
And so that's the guy I was thinking about because then, he disappeared for 2 days. You know what I mean? It's you told me you're avoidant. He's actually a friend of mine now, so I feel bad talking about him, but...
Okay, so...
He knows, though.
So question then, if he's a friend now, so was it true? Was he trying to really work on his stuff?
I think he's working on it, but is he there? I don't know.
Okay, because that's what I wanted to know about benefit of the doubt. That's something where I feel like it depends on the energy. But also when someone gets a red flag, I feel like, when you get that the first time, if it happens again, you need to pick up the signs. Right. Everyone gets a pass the first time because
first time
it's
pass,
right because it's like saying someone saying well
fool me once
right exactly but if it does this to you and you go okay well let's see if that happens again and then happens second time then it's like okay now you need to pick up on those pick up those flags or I'll put it in the bucket and run
There's this TikToker, I wish I remembered his name, but he's amazing. He just stitches with other people's videos where they explain some kind of red flag and he just stitches and he's waving a giant red flag. It's so funny. The way I ruined it. When he does it, it's great. When it pops up for you, please enjoy. It's a useless story. Are you enjoying this? Is everyone having fun? I have no home. Okay, what?
Yeah. So where do you go from here now that there's no home? You go to your friend's house, by the way?
Well, before you hate me or before you not hate me, before you feel sorry for me, I have a friend with an incredible, beautiful home in Venice. So I'm there for a week, and then I have another friend who's out of town through February 11th. So it
worked out.
Yeah, well, I have wonderful friends. I really do. I have incredible friends. It's very interesting, actually, to see who your friends are when something like this happens. Because I had a couple friends in particular where I texted them and they showed up in 5 minutes. One of them was I'm in Santa Monica right now, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Another one lives nearby. I mean, they were there immediately. And then there are some people where I'm like, oh, I know you know what's happened, and I still haven't heard from you, and I thought we were good friends. Because I'm not even saying you have to step up and do stuff.
Right,
Everybody's
just
busy, but
say
like
something.
the people who aren't even like, oh, I saw, like I posted on Instagram like my living room ceiling on my floor.
Okay, I got to look at this. I didn't look at that.
Yeah,
also.
well now it's gone as my
Okay.
story, but you know you can see us watching. Someone who I thought was a good friend in particular, where I'm like, he watched the whole story
and still said nothing.
and has said nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
See,
So
that's their own guilt.
It's
It's like, I want to. It's like, just reach out and say, hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you know, I'm
it's been
sorry
a little
about
upsetting, the people who haven't, but I have amazing friends. I mean, to be honest, the number of people who heard, saw my story or whatever, and reached out and offered me their home is incredible. Like,
That's
I've
great.
probably had 20 to 30 offers in various parts of the country. But
I would have taken
someone.
I would have gone probably the farthest in if that's the case. If you got all your stuff in order, take that farthest, like, you know, that, hey, you can use my place. What, you're in the Hamptons? What, you know where?
The thing is that, I had big goals for December and getting stuff done and, you know, working on strategy, taking just like a little step back from shows over the holidays and working on stuff, and I've gotten zero work done. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I'm very lucky, which I think is also an important point for this show, which is, I think, the relationship that a lot of us don't talk about enough is friendships.
Yeah.
And I mean that sincerely. I have incredible friends. I feel that my life is better because of them. I am, despite being single for years and years and years, I am not lonely. Like, I have a really
You got a good support system around you.
great life. Yeah. I mean, if I need something, like really need something, I have a ton of people that would drop and help me out. And so that has been, you know, the silver lining.
Love that.
This week.
Yeah, I can see that about you. It's like, you know, like I said, I always feel like sometimes the reason why I asked you to wanted to go back to your dating situation, it's like, you know, if you're fine right now on your own, because I know you have a lot of stuff going on, you know, and you're really busy and things like that. And sometimes your support group of your friends is enough.
Yeah.
You know, that's just enough. It's not like you're out there. Yes, you might get lonely here and there because, you know, whatever you need, I want the male companion or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But you have a great support system. You have a great group of friends around you. And that sometimes trumps everything else at the moment in time of your life right now. So, because they're all going to be gone when you start dating someone. You know that, right?
No.
No, I mean in a jokey way. You know, in a joke way, you know, people go,
because I hate that.
You know what? Then they go, God, where did Allison go? She's got a new man. She disappeared for all. But everyone
those people
needs
are
that,
dead
though.
to me. Those people are dead to me. Like, honestly, I've had friends that have done that, and I'm at a point in my life where if that's the way you treat friendship, we're not friends.
Right.
Like,
but I also think that everyone has that honeymoon phase where you need that little bit of time with that person. You put it into that person, but you also need to learn how to still have an individual life.
Because I have friends who have met someone, and I've been worried, like, oh, are they going to be gone now? And they're not. Like, there's so many people who
and that's awesome, right? Because they know how to balance it out. It's a balance, you know?
Yeah,
I agree
and then
with
some
that.
of my friends, you know, I've watched them meet amazing people, and now their husbands or wives are my good friends who text me separately, and you know what I mean? So that's no problem, but it's very interesting. I mean, the other thing that's interesting about getting older and dating is, like, you're also witnessing, as we discussed, the shit. You're witnessing people get divorced, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, being single, like, I used to be sad about it, and I'm not anymore, because I have a great life, and you witness how much the fairy tale isn't real. So I think you spend a lot of time wanting the fairy tale. Then you get to an age where you're like, the fairy tale isn't real, and actually, I'm having a great time.
See,
you know what I
I
mean?
love that you said that. I love, because that's what I did on my Stay in Your Dating Lane show. Like I said, I told people, I go, sometimes the people get blinded by the fairy tale, and that's not real. You know, it's like you have to really come back down to earth, and you know, you can sprinkle all these little things in there to make your life a fairy tale, of, you know, a happy life. Yeah. But don't go out there and just have this vision of like, this is my fantasy, because you know you need to notch it down a little bit.
And the one thing's, like, man, I have people where I have one friend where before she got divorced, she said, I'm in a prison of my own design. And I was like, holy shit. And I just felt so free, you know. It's just like, I do shows, I rock climb, like, I have a great life. And I think to some extent, even though I'm on a dating podcast and I run a dating show, to some extent I think we're too obsessed with dating. Yeah. And it's like, have you built a great life for yourself?
Right, like, especially as people get older.
Yeah.
Don't forget about that too, you know.
I have a great community, I have great, you know, again, rock climbing has been like this incredible thing in my life. That's, you know, great. I tried surfing recently. I was like, this is cool. You know, I'm just having a great time. And I think that the same way we can watch rom-coms and appreciate and love the romance, I don't think we spend enough time appreciating and loving the freedom and the lives we can build for ourselves. Like, you wake up every day in your home, you asshole. No, you have a house. But you wake up every day, and we're in a fucking choose your own adventure every goddamn day. We're in a choose your own adventure book. And what are you doing with it? You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's been interesting also, like, having not just like the housing thing that I've been joking about, but when you have certain like sort of little tragedies in your life and you take a look at your life, and it's nice that when those things happen to me, I love the life that I've built. I don't really know where I was going with that, but I think that like single people, you're okay. You know what I mean? You're listening, you're okay. You're okay. You should spend an equal amount of time trying to date, swiping, going out there, doing what you need to do, but you should spend an equal amount of time. I don't even want to say working on yourself so much as like I think people lose the part of like having fun.
Well,
like,
let me just
fulfilled,
right.
You know
So
what I mean?
going off of what you're saying right there, like not that, like you said, it's not about really saying like yes, you need to work on loving yourself, but she's not saying that. What she's saying is like you just need to be secure with who you are and do what the fuck you want to do. You know what I mean? It's like and not have to worry about.
You need to be scaring yourself and thrilling yourself and trying new things. I know it's very, very cliche, but like
and it's not cliche. It's not though because a lot of
people just like watch TV all day and they do their comfort things.
But once again, it's sometimes it's the pressure that two things happen. I feel like people put too much pressure on themselves, and that takes away from them being that dynamic, like you're saying though.
Yeah,
because
I'm also an asshole, and it's just one girl's opinion. You should completely ignore me. Like I think
and her house fell down, guys.
And I don't even have a home. Like don't listen to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You know why the Wicked Witch? Why she got hit by that brick building?
Yeah, I deserved it. It's true.
It's karma.
Yeah. What did I do?
What did she do?
I did something wrong,
No, you did nothing wrong.
I made that guy sit down and have a conversation with me. That's why my house went down.
It's all balled into one.
Yeah.
All right, Allison. Well, this has been amazing. You've been an amazing guest. Like, I'm definitely gonna have to have you back on the show and be my co-host because this is so much. Like, we could just go like so many different directions with this.
I know it was a low bar, but you were the highlight of my week.
Oh, see, I'm very happy to be that person for it. It just happened to work out just really well. And so I'm really grateful that you came on my show. I'm really, really excited about what you have for your future going on because this little blip that just happened with the house falling down, it's just a sign that, you're just moving on and doing bigger, better things.
Yeah, I'm going to get a bigger, better house.
Exactly. With that big ass check you can only get, girl. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I better get a fucking check from this.
You're like, wait, this was all my renter's insurance. Like, damn. It's like, yeah.
Well, it's not just the renter's insurance. I think the whole building is suing.
Well, that's a definite must because there's more than just that. That's now you're tied in emotional and all these other things too. That's definitely class action right there for sure. So. And if I was the landlord, I would just fess up and just get on it right now, get ahead of it because this could go really bad.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's a big company. Take them down. All right, guys. Well, this is Allison Goldberg. Allison, please plug what you have going on for us, please. I know we talked about a lot of things, but what's coming up next for you?
So follow me at Allie_Goldie, ALLI_GOLDI across platforms because no matter when you listen to this podcast, I will be plugging whatever I'm working on my social media, Allie_Goldie. How to Break Up by Text comes out February 14th. And my next Love Isn't Blind is January 12th in San Francisco.
Great.
I'm taking a little break in LA because I don't have a home. But I'll be, the next LA one is probably going to be February 17th. And also, if you just want Love Isn't Blind info, you can go to loveisn'tblind.co.
Yeah, well, you guys, you heard her. Check that all out. Check out her Instagram. Check out all of her social. And please go to her website because she has a lot of
AllisonGoldberg.com.
That's
what
your
I should really
website.
say. It's just like the central AllisonGoldberg.com.
And just filter from there. And guys, you can find me at FetchSport on Instagram or all social media and all the rest of me, www.dating-intelligence.com. And that's our show today. And Allison, you've been an amazing co-host today. And guys, I want to thank Connor and the House of Cop for having us here today. I love the fact that he's both of our producers and does all the videographer stuff.
Yeah, I had no idea though. Why was he not connecting us sooner? This little asshole is making faces out there.
He's like, I'm keeping everybody to myself.
Connor. You're lucky you're cute.
All right, guys, it's another episode, and we are out. 50 to get 50% off.